A Kikuchi named Goto is seen walking down the halls of the Butterfly Mansion. As he walks through the corridor, he reveals that 2 months have passed since the end of the battle at Yoshiwara, Tokyo, and remembers how badly the swordsmen were injured, specifically Tanjiro Kamado. He brings a plate of Castello with him, hoping the smell might help wake up Tanjiro from his 2-month coma. When he walks into the room, he discovers a shattered vase on the floor and is quietly infuriated. He announces that he has brought a dessert and asks Kanao Tsuyuri to clear a space so he can set it down. Tanjiro weakly thanks Goto for the dessert as Kanao observes him. Goto stands silently over Tanjiro's bed and loses his grip of the plate. After a moment's hesitation, he angrily bursts out at Kanao for not saying a word about Tanjiro regaining consciousness, insubordinately berating Kanao in a comical manner before going into the hall to alert Kyo, Sumi, Naho, and Aoi. The 3 young girls shed tears of joy after discovering that he had awakened, but are then immediately frightened when Aoi comes crashing into the room after having gotten caught in the laundry. After entangling herself, she begins to sob at his bedside. Tanjiro inquires on the status of his comrades, finding out that Zenitsu had awoken the day after the battle and had just left, screaming and crying, before going on a job. Tengen, the sound Hashira, left after the battle with his wives despite his terrible injuries, with his toughness scaring the Kikuchi. However, when Tanjiro asks about Inosuke, he is told by Aoi that he had been horribly poisoned and that Inosuke was on the verge of death. Tanjiro responds subtly and wonders if he is hallucinating, as he spots Inosuke hanging on the ceiling. Everyone in the room then looks up in horror to witness Inosuke crawling upside down on the ceiling. He loudly praises Tanpachiro for noticing him on the ceiling, to which Tanjiro comments that he is facing the ceiling. Inosuke drops down onto Tanjiro's bed, then brags that he woke a week before him and how he had poison resistance, making him resistant to medicines. The 3 girls protest for Inosuke to get off the bed, and tell him that he is not normal as quoted by Shinobu. Kyo goes on to show Tanjiro an image of a honey badger, saying that it has a thick, armor-like hide that allows it resistance to poison, which is what Inosuke is like in Shinobu's eyes. After listening to their conversation, Inosuke gloats about having an apparent immortality, and is swiftly corrected by Goto that he is simply just a moron. A fight ensues between the two and Aoi rushes to break it up, yelling at Inosuke to be careful and to stop forgetting important information that he is told. As the bickering gets louder, Kanao tries to quiet the room down until she has to yell at the others to be quiet as Tanjiro had fallen back asleep. Inosuke immediately worries that Tanjiro has returned into a comatose state, but the others assure him that he just needs to rest. A week goes by with Tanjiro making a full recovery and Inosuke embarking on a new job. While Tanjiro works on improving his weakened state, he asks Kyo and Naho about his new sword. The girls are hesitant to inform him that Hotaru had only sent letters thus far, and they show him the angry scrawlings of hate which clearly depict that the swordsmith would not make Tanjiro another sword. Now distraught, Kyo tries to uplift Tanjiro by saying that Hotaru is being the difficult one, and he should try to meet him at the swordsmith village to discuss in person. Tanjiro eagerly requests permission to visit the village, which Kagaya allows. He sends a Kikuchi to take him and she informs him that in order to keep the village safely hidden, Tanjiro must be carried there and will need to put on a blindfold, earplugs, and nose plugs. Throughout the journey, Tanjiro is frequently passed onto a new Kikuchi, while the crows are also swapped in an effort to maintain the location's secrecy. Once Tanjiro arrives at the village, he is amazed by the sense of the hot springs. He loudly shares his gratitude towards the Kikuchi for transporting him, which echoes loudly throughout the hot springs. His voice is eventually heard by the love Hashira, Mitsuri Kanroji, who is bathing in a nearby spring.